Have a few minutes? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
And greetings and salutations, everybody. It is your trusty, normally co-host, but yet again this week, the host, Steven Mouzen, here with former Atlanta Falcon and quickly becoming potentially one of my good friends, Harper LaBelle. Good morning there, Harper.
Stephen, thank you. I appreciate that. The potentiality of being a close personal friend with you is what gets me here.
Well, I thank you for that, and I do not want to commoditize our friendship.
No.
You guys are listening, of course, to Gwinnett Business Radio. Mike Salmon is producing. That means I get to host, and I get to host with the greatest co-host, Harper LaBelle. So glad you're here. Harper, you actually know our two guests, and I think are almost completely responsible for booking them on the show today.
Well, if you want to talk about sports and music, then I'm your guy. But really, I'm not your guy. Our two guests are the guys.
There you go. You know the guys to bring into the studio. So.
I just happen to be in the right place at the wrong time.
So we have Steven Mouzen from UnDiscovered Athlete, and we have Aaron Brown from Town Center Music. So why don't we start with Steven Mouzen from UnDiscovered Athlete. Steven, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. UnDiscovered Athlete. Tell us all about the company and what you guys do.
Yeah, so what we do, we started as a result of COVID. One of our owners is a professional baseball player, and he was an undiscovered athlete. Came out of college as or actually came out of high school as with no college offers. Walked on out of college, proceeded to get drafted in 2019, and then when COVID happened, the minor league season was canceled. Mm-hmm. As a result of that, we had an opportunity to create a facility. And really, it was initially started as a place for him to train and to train kids because as a minor league baseball player, you're not making a lot of money. And so he needed some sort of income stream. That ended up blooming into a full-fledged baseball facility where we have an affiliation with the Gwinnett Stripers. We have teams that range from 8 to 16 years old who all wear Stripers gear. I'm the head strength and conditioning coach of the facility. That's my background. And so I work with all the teams on their mobility, their movement, their strength, and all the way up to the pro guys that we have who are currently in their season.
So this is teams as well as tutoring, instruction?
Absolutely.
Things
yeah,
like
so
that?
we have everything from professional hitting coaches, professional pitching coaches, fielding, and then we have paid coaches for our teams, travel baseball teams, starting at 8 years old. And we have volunteer coaches for our teams.
So I like that there are multiple points of interaction. It might be that somebody wants to be on the team. It might be that somebody is just looking to get some lessons around pitching or hitting or things like that.
Absolutely. We have all of that.
Okay. And the facility is located in Suwanee,
sure
correct?
Is.
So where exactly?
Off of Old Peachtree Road.
Okay.
If you're exit 111.
Okay. And talk a little bit about the name, the Undiscovered Athlete, and this kind of goes back to the story of the founder.
Yeah, so Cam Coursey is the primary owner of our facility. That's the pro baseball player. He was the Undiscovered Athlete. There's a lot of kids who are very good baseball players and don't get opportunities. Gwinnett County has the highest number of draft picks over the 20 years of any county in the nation for Major League Baseball. And so with that opportunity comes a lot of kids who get missed. So Undiscovered, if we ever go to our website, you'll see the un is in brackets, parentheses. The reason why is because our job is to take kids from undiscovered to discovered. What we want to do is give kids an opportunity to play, get them in front of coaches, get them in front of scouts, get them in front of agents who have the opportunity to see them, see their skill sets, and then potentially go somewhere.
And I think when anybody who's listening who has a child or had a child who kind of went through the especially in terms of baseball, is that only through the travel teams, or have you guys found a way to create some other opportunities to maybe get some exposure beyond just playing for the travel team?
So the travel teams really just came up as a result of COVID. That wasn't something that was our intention.
Okay.
The facility is Undiscovered Athlete and isn't even intended to just simply be baseball. It could be I have strength and conditioning, basketball, football, soccer, cheerleading in our facility. Right now, baseball is the main thing because we have professional baseball players who are part of it. And but we're expanding, we're growing. The teams happened as a result of cancellation of seasons during COVID. Lots of parents were in there getting lessons for their kids, pitching, hitting, strength conditioning. And we saw an opportunity. There's like, hey, our kid wants to play somewhere. Can you guys put a team together? And that's really how the whole thing started. Then it turns in, now we have something that we call community baseball. And what community baseball is revitalizing baseball in the parks of Gwinnett County. This is why we have the affiliation with the Stripers. So like we have tryouts that are going to be coming up in June, July. The tryouts for our teams will be at the what do they call the stadium now?
Cool. Yep.
They will be there. So, and that's because of our affiliation with the Stripers.
So you have raised an issue for me that is huge: the revitalization of the community league. So you guys want to. It isn't just about creating an organization of just travel teams that just go and dominate or whatever. You want to actually see all levels.
Absolutely.
Get
So
better,
we realize that the flourishing of the younger kids in the rec parks. Not every kid's going to want to be on a travel team when they're 16 years old.
Right.
Not every kid's going to want to play past 10 years old. But in those parks, the parks and recs, they need to be able to have kids in their programs. And we want to see a revitalization of that.
So what are some of the things you guys can foresee? Because it sounds like you're just kind of getting this off the ground. What are some of the ways you see that you can interact more with the parks or help the parks or see that revitalization occur?
So when we have our teams, a lot of these teams, we have money that goes back into the parks. We raised over $20,000 for one of the local parks last fall as a result of our program. Now we're in one park now. The goal is to get into multiple parks in Gwinnett County.
Wow.
So that's what our deal is with the Stripers. The Stripers, obviously, they care about the community. They care about their brand. But at the same time, we're trying to get that into the local parks. So
development of players, also development of parks, giving some of the money back that is coming from your instruction back into another level of instruction and volunteer instruction in the parks. I mean, that's huge. That's fantastic. I like that. So it's not just the athletes being discovered; the parks are being discovered. The Stripers are being discovered.
Baseball's changed over when I was growing up. You didn't have anything like travel teams. So going back 25 years ago when I was playing Little League Baseball, you had your all-star team at the end of the season, and those were your teams that you kind of made like the Little League World Series.
Right.
Nobody went to Cooperstown to play a tournament or Myrtle Beach or Pigeon Forge. That all came about after I started. Well, the park started dying as a result of that. I mean, local youth baseball in your recreation parks is not very good. And so we want to revitalize that.
I like that.
More players playing the game, more players love the game, more players get opportunities to go move on.
And as you guys are helping people with their pitching and their hitting, and whether it's at 8, 9, 10 years old, you can't. There are some organizations that maybe just create all these different levels of travel teams, but you guys are saying, okay, there is a place for travel team. There's also a place for helping these players who maybe don't make this travel team go back to the park as a better player.
That's right.
And finding and fulfilling their best baseball life.
We have a kid in Gwinnett County right now. It's Andrew Jones' son from the Braves. He's going to get drafted this month, maybe the number 1, number 2 pick in the nation. And our guys are not that guy. Right? Not everybody can be that guy. But we want to give opportunity to the people who want to work hard. Now, they may not be able to play for the best travel baseball team, but there is a place for them at some level, and we want that to be all the way down to the rec level.
And by the way, when Andrew Jones' son was 7, 8, 9 years old, he played rec ball.
Yep, absolutely.
So I know that for a fact.
One of the things that I love about what you do and is important to me is that you're not replacing the parent or the coach, but you're assisting them. Because if Dad can't play catch with little Billy, that's a problem. Because little Billy's going to suffer and he's going to be slow. So what you're doing is just basics and fundamentals at one point.
That's right.
Look, your footwork is off. We need to work on you. Just hitting off the tee, just basic stuff. But then the child themselves needs to get to that point where I really want to do this and I want to get better.
Absolutely.
And when you have a coach or a system that doesn't allow for that, that's when you get to step in and go, here's what I can do to help.
That's right.
I can assist you. So tell me what that's like for you in terms of just getting a parent's blessing or having somebody come in and visit and say, what do you think about my son? There's an evaluation, I'm sure, that's a part of it.
Absolutely. So from my side, I'm the head strength and conditioning coach. I'm a movement specialist. The thing that I do is see how people move, and whether that's lifting a weight or swinging a bat or throwing a ball, pitching. I'm not a pitching coach. I'm not a hitting coach, but at the same time, I can see how people move and help work with that and help them fill the gaps, so to speak. So what we're trying to do is when a parent comes in and brings a kid, I'll do an evaluation, whether it's for strength and conditioning or whatever, and then make sure that they're in the right spot and for the right place. We want to do exactly what you said, fill gaps. And we have a great opportunity to be able to do that here.
Tom House, real quick. Tom House is the one who caught Hank Aaron's 715th home run, and Bill Buckner was on. Tom House is now the quarterback whisperer. Mm-hmm. He basically just looks at a structure like a skeleton. He doesn't care whose body it is. He works with Tom Brady. He works with high school and college court. He doesn't care, but just little intricate changes. If your angle, the slot of your arm is just off a little bit, and Brady probably spent $50,000 to $100,000 just working on one little technique with his throwing arm, and then with his left hand, he worked on what the placement is. Is that kind of what you're trying to do in terms of just real? Some kids need a lot of work. Mm-hmm. We get that; they're just beginners. But I was underdeveloped, or undiscovered. So I get what you're doing, and I appreciate it so much because there are late bloomers that are out there. My kid at 8 or 9 or 10 really wasn't into it, but by the time he was 13 or 14, that's all he did. And so during that 8, 9, 10, I didn't get the development that I thought I could, and it doesn't harm somebody, but it kind of makes you want it a little bit more.
So when we're talking about movement, let me just go with the barbell as an example. When we're lifting a barbell, whether that be a squat or a deadlift, we're talking about balance. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So you want your bars to move in a straight line when you do something. Well, you have to be balanced to be able to do that. If the bar's too far forward, you can't. It's harder to lift the weight. It creates a longer moment arm. If the bar's too far back, you're off balance. And the same thing applies when you're pitching and when you're hitting. So, like as an example, a quick thing, one thing I always recommend to all the kids that come in is hit in flat shoes. Well, why in the world would you want to do that? Like a Vans or a Converse. Well, when they're playing the game, they're in a cleat, and the cleat is in the ground. So they can actually feel the ground and get capture force from the ground. Well, when you're in a basketball shoe trying to hit, you actually are trying to balance on that shoe rather than being able to feel the ground. Yeah. So you want to have a flat shoe. So those are the types of things that I see, because if somebody's struggling with their equipment that they're wearing to do something, then they can't fix other things. It starts at the ground, moves up. Yeah. So when you're trying to capture force, and that's what throwing a baseball is putting as much force into a ball as you can, or when you're swinging a bat, putting as much force into that bat properly as you can. If you can capture that well, you can feel it, then you can do it.
We're speaking with Steven Mouzen. He is the strength and conditioning coach with UnDiscovered Athlete in Suwanee, Georgia. Steven, let me ask this. The typical person listening who has a child currently playing a sport, and let's stick with baseball, even though I'm sure it's expanding to other sports. Talk a little bit about the first engagement. Where does it start? What should people expect when they call you? Because I think there's this, and I'm not running anybody else down, but most people's general experience is, I'll help your kid with blank. Mm-hmm. I'll help your kid with hitting. I'll help your kid with pitching. Hey, have your kid work with me. I'll get them on a travel team. I'll do, whatever it is. Is there a different experience they're going to have with the UnDiscovered?
Yeah, so we can cover all those areas. The key is, what do they need? All right, so the first step is, it's kind of a questionnaire. Hey, what are you looking for? Yeah. What's your objective? What are you trying to get out of this? We have new athletes come all the time from other programs, other facilities, rec parks. And so a kid may have taken up catching this year. So now he's with a professional catching instructor. And then at the same time, if he needs hitting, then we have the professional hitting coaches to do that. So my strength and conditioning program runs with as young as 8 years old. However, most 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they don't need to be lifting any sort of weights. And so, movement, mobility, getting out and playing as a kid. All the time I have parents ask me, hey, can my son come and train? No, let me look at him. So bring him in. So he comes in, and I watch him move and watch him run around and put him through sets of drills. And then often the conversation with the parents is, he just needs to get outside and play. There's not much I can really do for him here. But then there's some times where you might have an 11-year-old. I have an 11-year-old right now. He's 72 pounds. He just deadlifted 170 pounds 2 days ago with absolutely perfect technique. The kid is strong as an ox. And but he's been with me now for several months. But he moves, and he's a catcher. He's been in catching lessons since he was 8 years old. And he moves really, really well. So he moves like somebody who's 15, 16 years old. He's aware of what his body's doing in space. So we have to do an evaluation, simply put, just to make sure that we know that we're going to put them in the right place so that we can actually help them. I don't want to take somebody's money and not be able to help them. I want them to have the benefit of what our program is.
And when it comes to strength and conditioning, they may not be ready for that. But I would imagine at almost any level, if as someone who did a little coaching, especially on the rec level, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, when it comes to hitting, there are some real basic things that boy, if I could erase that mistake, that's going to save you a whole lot of pain. And
Yeah, we have kids 6, 7 years old coming in and doing hitting lessons.
Yeah.
We have, during different times of the season, we have something called Friday Night Hitting, where it's open to anybody who wants to come, and there's coaches that are there, and they help you work on your swing and take you through drills. And this is a group setting, not necessarily one-on-one. We have both for pitching and hitting, and fielding, where you don't have to be affiliated with our program to take advantage of it.
If there's there's individual for sure, but in giving back to that rec park, if there's a rec team who the coach and all the parents say, let's come in and get a couple quick hitting instruction lessons, there can be certainly
sure. Yeah,
so there's
we have
a lot of different ways of engagement.
Yeah, from full teams to down to individual lessons, and that can be for any type of strength conditioning, hitting, throwing, fielding, pitching, whatever it is they need.
I think the whole re-engagement with the park community, I think one of the things that needs to change is people need to realize it's okay if your child is 9, 10, 11, 12 and still playing. It's okay. Rec league is not a demotion. No. Right?
Not at all.
It's about improving the player and improving the experience because, and Harper, you were talking about this with your son. I think this is my opinion, so I'm going to state my opinion. You guys can shout me down if you want. I think all kids, the number one goal is, are you having fun? Number 2 goal is, are you improving? There does come a point in all players' experience where you got to decide, is this now going to be a little more of a job where I got to really work? Because even that work can be fun, but it's work. Versus I'm enjoying playing and it's fun and it's a game, right? I mean, that's my opinion at least, and I don't know if anybody.
And then the experience too of this is getting harder.
Yeah,
they're throwing faster.
Right.
I need to get. They're hitting the ball back to me. I need to work on things in order to get to the next level. And Steven, real quick, just some of the other things that you do in terms of the mental. You're eating, resting, how you sleep. There's so many other things, and we're not talking about everybody has to be a professional, but there's a lot of kids and I'm putting my thumbs together right now, are just all they're doing is Nintendo and Game Boy and Xbox, and they don't really spend enough time outside. You mentioned that, hey, your kid needs to go outside and play. What are some of the other aspects of what you try to encompass, even if somebody doesn't work with you? These are some needs that you would have if you want to be more athletic.
Yeah, absolutely. So from the strength and conditioning side, we touch on all aspects. The phones are one of the most detrimental things that kids can have at night. Blue light is terrible. It interrupts sleeping patterns. If you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. If you're not eating, you can't get. But you're not. Eventually, the limit. You're going to reach a limit on how much bigger, how much stronger you can be, and how effective the program is going to be. That's just as much work as taking a batting lesson. So the other thing is, talking about grades with kids. We have a lot of kids that are there because they want to get college scholarships. They want to go to the next level. Most kids who are playing at 15 years old, they want to be Major League Baseball players. It's very seldom that you have a kid who doesn't have that dream somewhere. But one of them wants to go to college. And so that's one of the important things. Like I have conversations with my high school kids all the time. I have a group text thread where they're on there, and I'll send out things like that they need to know, that they need to be thinking about. And tell them, they'll walk in the facility, hey, why were you on Instagram at 1 o'clock in the morning? Now, I'm up, right? I'm working. I'm doing other stuff. But at the same time, when I see them have a post at 1 o'clock in the morning and they have school at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's not good for them for their baseball.
Have you ever gotten a good answer to that question?
What do you mean, Coach?
That's not know. That's not a good. Yeah,
I need to do a better job of hiding my tweets and all the other stuff.
So Steven Mouzen with UnDiscovered Athlete, you have piqued some interest, and I think some people listening will want to reach out and say, "Let me take that questionnaire, or let me fill it out for my child, or have them fill it out." What's the best way for people to first engage?
Our website, UnDiscovered Athlete, so it's undiscoveredath.com, undiscoveredath.com. Our phone number for the office there is 470 222-4160 if anybody wants to give us a ring.
Fantastic. And there's a guarantee that they will make the major. No, I'm just kidding. But
I can guarantee one thing. If they do what I tell them to do, they'll get bigger, faster, stronger.
That's it. And other coaches will help them hit better, pitch better. They can become a better athlete.
You can become a better baseball player. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
And that bracket around might be dropped. So
that's our goal. If somebody wants to drop it, we want to do everything that we can in our power to help them drop that to become discovered.
Well, Steven, thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely. Appreciate the time.
Before we get to our next interview, I want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Regions Bank. Regions Bank is here to help your business's financial future stay on track. Regions Commercial Banking has a team of experienced bankers in Gwinnett who can guide you in all areas of growth. Get the resources you need so every step can move you closer to your business goals. To learn more, visit regions.com/commercial-banking. Regions Bank, member FDIC. Well, we're excited to have our second guest, Aaron Brown from Town Center Music. Aaron, welcome into the studio.
Hey, Steve. Thank you.
One thing I am guaranteed of, Aaron is not scared of the microphone. Being from Town Center Music, you've probably been around a few microphones. But for those people who don't know about Town Center Music, tell us about where you are, what you do, and what the place is all about.
Well, Town Center Music is in downtown Swanee. We provide lessons, we provide repairs, and we sell a lot of really great merch curated to make sure that everybody has the best playing experience that they can.
So you guys offer the instruments, you offer lessons, you just kind of anything music.
I won't go anything, but yeah, no, we do.
I tested you.
I am listening. We do have we try to provide the complete plate. You know, you come in, you learn, you buy the gear. We help you maintain that gear. It's sort of a circle of life kind of thing.
So let me ask this question. In terms of retail music, how is Town Center Music different than maybe some other people's experiences they may have already had or think they're going to have when it comes to going into a music store?
Well, the temptation there is just to say, well, we're better. But that is one of our goals. Our goals is to be more welcoming to a beginner player that might come in off the street. It's to create a community of experienced players through the repairs and the gear. We take like a teaching stance too. We're really committed to showing folks what we're doing when we fix their gear. We're committed to explaining, okay, if you want this sound, that's why this piece, and this piece work together to make that sound. It's most of the time you go into a guitar store, it can be sort of like the popular idea of like a record store. You have sort of the snobbish, distanced clerk behind the desk, and then
I was thinking of the comic book guy from Simpsons.
Yes,
right?
that is another great example of
so
you're in my world now.
It's not that way at all.
No. We're looking to bring folks in. We're looking to get them plugged into some great gear, let them play for a long time. Obviously, we need to make sales, but we don't want to be salesy. You know, we don't want to shove any gear down anybody's throat.
Well, somebody told me once and I say this only to sound smart in talking to the owner of Town Center Music, but maybe around music there's the commoditization of experiential retail.
Coming in hot. Yeah. All right, let's do this.
And everybody listening is like, what?
Yeah.
But there might be that one comic book store guy from The Simpsons who's like, what does that mean?
Okay, well, so what we've seen over the last, let's call it 10 years, everything's gone online now, right? We buy everything online. There's not a lot that we can't buy online. There are some things we should not buy online. There are some things like a guitar that we should not buy online just because you have to have it in your hands. You have to feel it. You have to know that it's been set up by a professional. You have to know that somebody has made this thing play the best that it can, because if you lined up 4 or 5 of the same model, they're all going to play a little bit differently fresh out of the box, either because of travel conditions coming from where they were built, or because maybe the guy at the end of the work line didn't know exactly what he was doing and didn't quite get it right to spec. So there's that component of it where you want to make sure you're getting the best possible chance at having a good playing experience. The other way is, this is a communal thing. This is a thing that's built on relationships. Nobody ever picks up a guitar to only sit in their room by themselves and play to themselves. That may start like that. You know, folks might be afraid to go out on stage or in front of others, but eventually it always leads to community. And that's the other part of it. When you start moving things like this online, when you start saying, oh, no, you can buy it from us without ever seeing it or playing it, then you're not introducing the player to the community right off of the bat. And that's one of the reasons why we provide what we provide in the lessons, the repairs, and things like that, is we want to bring folks into a community that might be something that they really love.
You know, my wife and I had the same type conversation around the concept of buying a car. How could someone buy a car without sitting in it doing a test drive? But when it comes to music, and this might be one of those things where if people have never been around music, or there's an artistic of course there's an artistic nature to a lot of things. But when it comes to music, I mean, there's another level of not. Please don't go to, and I guess in the old days it was, please don't go to Walmart and buy that starter guitar, or at least don't have that guitar for long. Yeah. But going online, and some people might be listening to that and go, wait a minute, buying the same guitar and 4 different ones, and there's that level of expertise that you guys have to bring, but without being the comic book guy from Simpsons and being snobbish about it, right? Or being, distant, or I'm so much better. Right. It's trying to invite people in to maybe hear that for the first time and go, oh, that is a little different.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, a rank beginner is not going to know that it's the instrument's fault. They're going to play it, and the strings are going to be like an inch high off the frets, and they're going to go, well, I must suck, and I must not be gifted at this. No, it's the guitar's fault. It wasn't set up. You got a bum rap. You were set up to fail. It's like Steven was saying, it's all about the gear. Like you need to. There's a lot of parallels here between what you were saying and what. It's really cool to see that in anything that's worth pursuing, there's a right path. There's a wrong path. And if you're a beginner, and if you are isolated like we all have been the last 2 or 3 years, and if you're trying something new where you have no expertise, buying something on the internet is a quick way to ensure that you're not guaranteed anything. At least in my look, I buy jeans on a website, right? I buy shoes, I buy food, things like that, because that's a known thing, right? But if I'm going to learn golf, I'm not going to go to a website and buy a bunch of clubs, right? I'm not a golfer. Let's just say that right up front. I don't play golf at all. I'm going to go to somebody that I know that plays, and I'm going to say, hey, what's the best thing for me to do here? What do you think I should do? Do our clubs a different length, or whatever? And so then I'm going to have a better chance of succeeding at what I'm doing.
I started playing about 8 years ago, and I really appreciate you saying
golf
that.
Or
guitar. Guitar. My daughter had 7 or 8 in her room, and I asked if I could play one, and she had, she had, no disrespect, but there were some cheaper or lower grade guitars. Mm. And I ended up picking up this Fender, which I thought, oh, this is a Fender, this is awesome. Well, as soon as I started playing a C or a D chord, I noticed the G string was chunking, and I sounded terrible. Well, it had a little bit of a bow in the neck. I didn't know it. I didn't know what a luthier was. I just knew that this guitar wasn't the right one for me. There was a Jasmine that I picked up, and kind of the same thing. Finally, Yamaha, of all things, and I'm not trying to sell a brand, I go, wait a second, this sounds good. The action was just right. I was Goldilocks for a few moments. I understand your point there, but when a person is just beginning or is new enough to where they really don't know the difference, how do you come in and say, bring your guitar in? Oh, there's a bow in this, and your 3rd to 7th frets are all going to sound terrible. That's what you do. You try to get, you mentioned the instrument. It's not really bad playing, but you remove a lot of the frustration that players have by getting the instrument. This is a playable instrument now. It wasn't 20 minutes ago before I looked at it.
Right. And that's what all of our staff is trained to do, to bring someone in and say, okay, here's why we can make this better. Here's how we can give you a better playing experience experience with this, and you'll have more fun, and you'll do it more.
It's not in tune. It's your strings are 400 years old. Let's change your strings.
Right.
Let's get you a snark at $12. We're going to
Right.
get you something to tune you up, so at least now you know what the ballpark. And by the way, here's what standard tuning is. Here's what open G or open D or whatever it is. Or here's how a trumpet plays a little bit better. This is what you need to do. Keep your mouthpiece here versus over there, right? Just little intricacies that would help the player be a little bit better.
And it sounds like in even in Harper's question, it sounds like there's a little bit of an element, and you talked about you don't want to be distant, you don't want to be snobbish, you don't want to look down on your customers while you maintain this high level of expertise around all these different instruments. There's a place for friction here with the, one of the reasons people go online is I don't have to deal with salespeople, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't.
Yeah.
I can just kind of pick out whatever I want.
Right.
There's, in terms of you helping the customer, the client, there's a place for some potential friction, right?
Yeah.
And so, what? How do you guys deal with that? Or do you? You're not. Sounds like you're not shying away from that.
No. We talk a lot about that. A lot about building trust with a customer. One of the unique things about our industry is you can go online and find a whole lot of opinions that are presented as facts.
Wait. Hang on. I've never heard this before.
Now, okay, hearing that come out of my mouth. All right, now let me qualify. Yeah. So we have
even
people
in music,
right? You'll see on the internet where on the vaunted place of the internet where they say the best guitar rig is this into that with this pedal, no questions asked. I will not talk further about this. This is the best. And then so you'll have people come in saying that thing, and that is an opinion, right? This is art. Okay, that's all based on opinion. That's a tricky part too, is that we're selling somebody's idea of cool back to them. Ooh. And we have to be very careful with how we present that. We have to be very careful with how we treat that. That is a soft, squishy, emotional core, right? And the modern world doesn't treat those things kindly. So we talk a lot about how can we establish trust with somebody that comes into our store. How can we we're not going to be best friends with everyone, but how can we non-threateningly demonstrate, like you said, expertise while teaching, even sometimes through the side door, and that you'll have people who are resistant completely to hearing anything new. And so you kind of have to sneak things in, like maybe stand off to the side and play a thing and go, I didn't know that thing could sound like that. Yeah, well, hey, man, why don't you try it? That kind of thing.
That's good sales technique, by the way, without being salesy.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's so let me ask this as far as breadth. We've kind of the conversation has focused mostly on guitar, but clearly Town Center Music more than, and speaking of which, let me do a quick reset. I'm such a professional. We're speaking with Aaron Brown. He is with Town Center Music, and we've talked about guitars, but there's a lot of other instruments. What are some of the instruments that people would be surprised to hear how much traffic you guys get in helping people with various instruments other than just the guitar?
Violins and violas are some that we move a lot. And that's where having a good repair department has really helped us in that area, because in theory, a guitar and a violin are similar in how they work. They're both made of wood. Repair techniques can be transferred from one thing to the other. And so it was a pretty easy fit for us to pick those up and just, we can offer this too, because we have folks that can work on them here.
And that reminds me of another point. We are living more and more in a world. This is another conference. My wife and I are having conversations that relate to music and your store. Yeah. How quickly things that we used to have repairmen for, you just throw away now. Yeah. Get another one. It's cheaper to just get another one. Music is not that way. A lot of times the instrument is designed to be repaired, especially when you got it working right and then something goes just off. Well, don't just go try to find another perfect fit. Let's repair what you've got. Right. So you guys have a repair department. There is guitars, violins, violas. Are there other instruments you guys repair? I mean, pretty much run the gamut almost?
No, fretted and wood stuff. Okay. That's kind of where we go when you start talking band instruments and things like that. That's a highly specialized.
You don't have a
thing.
piano
It's,
tuning department.
Don't have a piano tuning department. Right now. I get calls for that like every other week. But
Do you refer that out? I guess.
Yeah, no,
As my dad was a piano player, so
okay.
You know,
Yeah. No, we have some names that we give that they may be able to find someone. But again, those things, like you're saying, those things are becoming kind of a lost art too, where people, they get used to disposability, and then so either a repair guy will go up in value as to what he can earn, or he'll just fade away. And
in terms of piano tuning, almost everybody's got the one person they've used for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
But when that guy retires, he you want to talk about selling a business? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We've moved from talking about music to business succession plans with Aaron Brown from Town Center Music. So we've talked a lot about kind of finding that right piece, or it might be the instrument's fault, and first-time buyers and things like that. Talk a little bit about the lessons. Talk a little bit about what you guys offer and what somebody's first experience would be with that.
We offer quite a lot. We do guitar, bass, drums, piano, and we really do think that our instructors are the best. They're very good at meeting the potential student where they're at. The student can bring in songs that they want to learn. The instructors can deconstruct those songs, teach them chords, rhythm, scales, all within the context of that song, which keeps it fun. Like, that's the number one, like you said with sports, that the number one goal is this kid having fun? Because engagement is key. Without that, you're dealing with a surly 12, 13, 14-year-old, which no one wants. If they're engaged, if they're playing, it gives them a goal too. They can take this song home now, sit on the edge of their bed and play. Mom can walk by and go, I know that. That's a Green Day song. And for just a second, you've got a player and you have a fan, and that's exciting, right? We teach Monday through Saturday. We have online scheduling, billing. You can sign up online at towncentermusic.com/lessons. You can see all of our instructors' names and profiles there. You can see what times they have free. You can choose a plan there. We offer half-hour and 1-hour lessons, and we try to take the friction out of that. Like, we pull the friction out of like the paying and all the stuff that everybody gets frustrated over. But we want to try and keep the relationship as friction-free as we can. Yeah.
I would have thought that COVID, which put a lot of restaurants out of business because nobody was going, would do something similar to you. I was wrong, because there are a lot of folks that had extra time. They had a couple of bucks. They worked from home. They didn't have the commute, and now they want to pick up an instrument. Say, I've always wanted to learn how to play. How do you deal with the adult? You mentioned the kids a moment ago. The adult that's super nervous because I should know more than I know about music. I don't know anything, and I want to learn how to play. I've got time to do that now. How do you work around that? And how's that been for your business?
You refer them to another music school. No. I'm just kidding.
No, adults are actually, they can be a lot easier to deal with than kids. They can be a lot harder. But the goal, again, is fundamentally, I believe that everybody can do this. It's, again, like Steven was saying, everybody can play, right? Whether it's ball, whether it's what we do. It doesn't matter. Everybody can. Not everybody's going to achieve the same level, right? Not everybody's going to be Slash. The world doesn't need more Slashes. The world needs more happy people. And so let's get them playing ball. Let's get them playing an acoustic, things like that. So I keep that. I try to keep that in mind. Everybody that comes in, everybody can do this, right? And then it's the same thing with a kid. You just say, what song do you want to learn? Who do you want to be in your mind? When you close your eyes and think of a guitar, what's the picture that comes to your head? For me, it's the cover of Born to Run. Like, that was epical for me, just seeing that, and like that set me on a course, right? And so everybody has that picture in their head. We have to try and make a relationship with that person to get them to reveal that to us, whether they know it or not, and then set them on that path. And that is, again, a powerful thing, because you're talking about somebody's idea of cool, somebody's idea of what freedom looks like or whatever. But, that's really all there is to it. Now, if you want to talk about how COVID changed the industry, I can talk an hour on that. But we pivoted quickly onto the online stuff. We were able to do that with the platforms that we're on. We took like 35% hit in our students. But I was looking at the graphs yesterday, and we are climbing back up out of that hole. Again, on the strength of our instructors and the relationships that they built with their students.
Well, Aaron, I can't wait for the next time you come into the studio when you're launching your new book, Sneaky Yet Virtuous Sales Techniques by Aaron Brown. But until that happens, why don't you tell our listeners, for those who need repairs, for those who are looking to take lessons, for those who are looking to buy their first instrument or their next instrument, how can they get in touch with Town Center Music? We can be found at towncentermusic.com. That's the best way to reach us. You can give us a call at the store, 770-831-7936. We have a lot of our products on our website. We have a page for lessons. We have a page for repairs. Instagram, Facebook, look us up, Town Center Music, all one word. And the location is 4072 Swanee Dam Road, between Peachtree Industrial and Buford Highway in beautiful downtown Swanee. So just remember the music store on the Dam Road. So Aaron Brown from Town Center Music, thank you so much for being here. Also want to thank Steven Mouzen from UnDiscovered Athlete. I also want to remind our listeners that if you love this show, love is what makes a Subaru, because Gwinnett Business Radio does come to you from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios. Enjoy big savings and a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today, or come in and see the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, then check out their Facebook page for the latest news, offers, and community events. Harper, I'm going to do something very dangerous. You brought both these guests in. There's so many parallels. You knew what you were doing when you booked this show.
Oh, don't go saying that, because then I'll have much higher expectations.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
No, on purpose, I wanted them both to be on the show. It's just a coincidence that they both agreed to be on at the very same time. But nice segue there. Well done. I like that. And Harper LaBelle proving yet again that a broken clock is right twice a day. So well done, getting them both booked, getting both on the show. So I want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is part of BusinessRadioX.com. You can check out our show there on the website, get pictures of the show and all the nice little stuff we do. But you can also follow us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also search for us on social media at Gwinnett Radio X is most of them, I think. Mike is so ready to get out of this show because he's scared that if we keep doing the show together, Harper, he'll never get back on the air. How about that? I like that. Cat. But we love Mike. Thank you for producing the show, and thank you for putting me with Harper. We'll catch you next time. See, he's playing me out. He knows I'll just keep talking. This is Stephen Julian for Harper LaBelle and for Mike Salmon. We'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio. He turned off my mic.